Wonderful for Alondra and her amazing crew to put this on. Another round of applause for that. Putting together all of these freedom fighters from all over. I heard somebody driving down here from Northern California. How many of you are actually from San Diego area? San Diego, okay. Let's hear by applause. How many of you are from outside of San Diego? Give yourself a round of applause. Yeah, good job, you guys, coming probably from Orange County, LA, Ventura. This is a fight for California. Santa Clara, awesome. That is so great, you guys. Chicago, yeah, here we have it. This is a fight for freedom, and they are using California as the front lines because they want what's happening in California to be rolled out. That's why they're squeezing New York as well. It literally is a squeeze play on the country. And I am a lifelong Californian. I have lived most of my life in California. I did live for several years in a Muslim country, in Morocco. And I was an English teacher. My entire career has been in education, a lot in ESL. So I love learning about other cultures and countries. I speak Arabic, I speak French. I love the international communities that we have here in California. And I wanted to mention that about Morocco because when I lived there and I wanted to travel from city to city, I had to show my papers. You would be stopped by a policeman who would say, who are you visiting? How long are you going to be here? You have to go sign in with the police department when you arrive, and you have to give the address of the person you're visiting, and when you leave the city, you have to sign out. And I remember writing home, and this was before the internet, I couldn't email anybody, but I remember writing home these letters saying, can you believe this society that I'm living in? And I am astonished to see that it's happening here. Now, there are two things that are really common between Morocco and the United States last year, and that is you could never find toilet paper in Morocco either. So, right before all this hogwash started, as I call it, at Thanksgiving prior to 2020, our family was sitting around, and for some reason we started talking about prepping. I think it's because my husband, Pastor David, and I are preppers, and if you're not a prepper, you really should start prepping. And that means according to your budget, you just start stocking up on the canned goods and the non-perishables and find out who your farmers are, because they are shutting down farmers markets. I heard they shut down one in Santa Monica. They're making it extremely difficult to get the food. Even restaurant owners are going to have to really fortify their supply chain because they are not going to stop. But we were talking about prepping right before this all happened, and we were going around the dinner table saying, what do you think will be the most important thing, in the apocalypse? And somebody said, oh, it'll be tools, and somebody else said it will be ammo, and nobody said toilet paper. And we were just talking about it. But my motto is there's always another way, and I'm going to find it. Would you guys repeat that with me? There's always another way, and I'm going to find it. And I want you to have a positive outlook on what's going on. God put you here at this time, in this place, in these challenging, horrible, unthinkable conditions for you to fight this battle. It is a battle, and it is a war. And it's the worst kind of a war, in my view, because we're not seeing the bombs going off, we're not running to the bomb shelters. So it's a very sneaky, nefarious war because people are being brainwashed into thinking it's not really going on. And there are people who are, that's so great, all the support here. There are people that actually don't have the wherewithal to face the reality of what's going on, and they're in denial. And so we need to approach them with a heart full of patience and gratitude for the ability to educate them. And I'll tell you, my husband and I get thousands of emails for help on an ongoing basis. We are it's a deluge of emails. People that are hurting, that are suffering. I hear from people all over the country, from all over the world. I've got people in Canada asking for help. I've got people in Australia, in South Africa. You would not believe what's going on, in the UK, in every country. And I'm so grateful that God gave me the talent of educating, and that's what I've been doing, is teaching people about their rights. So even though we have all of the compelling information about the science and the medicine, and you guys are emailing me all the latest, stuff, the fact is they can switch and maneuver and bring in scientists to say that breathing carbon dioxide is good for you, right? That staying inside, don't get any sunshine, don't go to the gym, don't go to work, don't have any interaction, that's somehow supposed to be good for you. So they'll bring in the scientists to manipulate and destroy what we know is correct. Right now, we still are hanging on by a thread for the rule of law in our country. And the reason they've been able to get away with breaking these laws is because we have not been standing up. Now, I don't want anybody to feel guilty about not going to any board meetings so far, but if you have not been to one yet, this is your time to stand up. Even if you literally go and just stand in front of them and wave and leave, they see you there as somebody who cares, somebody who's ready to make a difference. If you do need the talking points, you've got lots of people here in San Diego. I've got tons of information at the Healthy American YouTube channel. Just click on the playlist that says Board of Supervisors, and you'll see all of my rants. You'll have all of the information. I tell you all of the laws. I brought some laws with me today. Now, last time I was here, I spoke about some laws, and I added to them. There are plenty of laws that actually protect your rights. But the issue is we're dealing with lawbreakers. There is also a law against carjacking, but that's not going to stop somebody from stealing your car because they're criminals. And criminals belong behind bars. And that's where we want to see these public servants. And even if the courts are correct, because I hear from many of you too saying, Peggy, you're talking about these lawsuits and all, you may have a judge that is not going to follow the law. That is absolutely right. But here's the most important thing I want to tell you, is that your action matters. Your action matters, regardless of the results. Your actions matter. These evildoers want you to be psychologically fatigued. They want you to throw up your hands and say, well, I've been to that school board 1,000,000 times and they're still telling the kids to put on the mask. They want you to give up and go away, and you can't do that. So I'm on record saying I'm going to march this all the way to heaven. I have never restricted my breath. I've never put on a mask. Never will. I'm going to get a t-shirt that says hashtag never have, never will. Who wants that one? Yeah, never have, never will. My hubby, Pastor David, would you stand up? He's got his shirt on and it says, fully immunized, just like God made me. Yeah, so you can get those at thehealthyamerican.org. It really does help support our mission. I left and lost 2 jobs last year. I was working for the city of San Clemente. I was teaching water fitness classes, just kind of for fun with the seniors. And of course, they told all the seniors to go home and stay in their houses, because working out in a chlorinated pool would be really unhealthy for you. I fought that city. I had everybody on that group email them and say, what right do you have to tell us to go home? We have the right of choice. You don't want to come, don't come. Well, that was the start of my activism in this realm. I've been very active in animal rescue, battling counties for long time. I know the horrors that go on in these local governments. In fact, I would say, just by looking at the number of people in prison, the county governments are the worst. The county governments are the worst. They have such a large amount of power because of the geographic area that they oversee and the amount of money that filters through their dirty fingers, ending up in somebody's pocket, no doubt. The city governments are a little bit, you're closer to them. You can show up. You know these people. They're in your community. So you've got to keep the pressure on them. And there are plenty of public servants that are behind bars. So I want to let you know that happy ending. The former sheriff of Los Angeles and the undersheriff, they're behind bars right now in Texas. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of that case, and I don't know if there were shenanigans, and I don't know if they really are innocent. I don't know. But what I do know is that public servants can go to jail, can go to prison. The former sheriff of Orange County, with a very interesting name, Mike Corona, also went to jail in Orange County. Again, I don't know all the ins and outs. That was some time ago, but the point is these public servants are not immune, using that word, to the law. The former Board of Supervisors chairman in Orange County, a convicted felon, went to prison. It can be done. It can be done. You guys probably have a laundry list of names here in Orange County that you would like to see following in those footsteps. The county treasurer of Orange County, Robert Citron, some of you may remember him back in the, I don't know, 90s or something, went to prison, stole the money in terms of having all of these bad investments. It can be done, but don't let that be your litmus test. Don't let that be your standard for whether your actions are working or not. You don't even know. You could be planting seeds now that are going to yield fruit down the road. You don't know that that letter that you sent in, that was read by a secretary, that then went on to some school board, administrator. You don't know that you impacted that person. Never give up on your action. And all actions are valid as long as they are they resonate with you. There are many, many different approaches. The approach I take is based on education and really relying on the law. So let me share a couple of these laws with you. And you know that discrimination is illegal. You know that. It's like, oh, Peggy, do you really need to tell me that? Could they, look at what Alondra has here. It's a ramp. There's a ramp and there's stairs. Why is there a ramp? Because she's a sweet, kind-hearted person. Yes, she is. Because the law requires it. Because somebody in a wheelchair cannot get up those steps. Imagine if she said, no, I don't want people in wheelchairs, that you could run over somebody's toe. It's very dangerous to the health and safety of others. Right? That's what they're telling you at work. You're a danger to, that's what they're telling you at Trader Joe's and Costco. Well, we take our, the health and safety of our employees is number one. Well, I thought selling food was number one. I would rather have you just sell me the food and you take care of your own health and safety. Yes. The whole thing's ridiculous. So you know that discrimination is against the law. You know that they cannot keep someone out that's in a wheelchair, that has a broken leg, that speaks with a foreign accent, that has a different color hair, that is a certain ethnicity. They cannot do that. It is logic. It is understandable. We don't even, in my view, really even need a law to say that. Any normal human being would know we are all created equal. And in the state of California, California Civil Code 51 says each individual in this jurisdiction is free and equal. Period. You don't need any other laws. Free and equal. There's another t-shirt. Hashtag free and equal. Free, F-R-E-E, and equal, not enslaved and stupid. Stop it, you guys. Stop wearing the mask. There's no reason for you to ever do that. Don't give in, don't give up, and don't give over your dignity. It's not even a matter of freedom. How can you live with yourself? I seriously do not understand it. I no more would wear a mask than I would sleep with my boss to get a promotion. That's exactly what they're asking you to do in terms of the fake vaccine. They want you basically to prostitute your body. Are you going to do it? Come on! It's astonishing to me that we even have to have this conversation. It is illegal, immoral, unethical, unthinkable, and I am not going to stand for it. Now, I'm sure I'm going to get censored on all these platforms because I said the word fake. That's their end game, is no freedom of speech. They could have filled in the blank with any of these sensations, this hogwash as I call it. They chose something that is going to grip people with fear because people are afraid of dying. I'm not. I know my eternal life is secure. God put me here to fight evil, and I am going to do it with every waking moment. He put you here for the same reason. You are here to fight. Now, I want to give you the tools. I want to give you the weapons. I don't know if that word is legal anymore either, but we are going to talk about this. So, how many of you have a job where you're kind of being harassed? Or you know somebody who has a job and they're being harassed? Yeah, look at that. You're being harassed. Well, you don't have to get the needle, as I call it, but you have to be tested twice a week. Oh, really? Are you testing for tuberculosis? That's actually contagious. And it actually exists. I know, people get sick all the time. Just for the record, this disease has never been identified or isolated. It's a mystery. I'm not saying people don't get sick. Plenty of people told me they have. But you don't reroute the entire society based on that. So they're doing it operating on fear that people think they are going to die. Now, the only reason why people are afraid of dying, in my view, there are two main things. Number one, they feel like they haven't lived yet. They haven't lived yet. They put their life on hold. They're working at a job that they hate. They're married to somebody they don't like. They're not pursuing their dreams. They never did what they really wanted to do because they were trying to impress their parents or whoever. And they're not really living their life as they want to. How many of you feel like this last year and a half really gave you a renewed purpose? Yeah, how about that? A renewed purpose, passion. How about, by round of applause, how many of you feel smarter this year than you were last year? Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you are living your purpose now. I want you to grab that. I want you to claim it. I want you to embrace it. I want you to embrace all of your gifts. And you may be saying, well, Peggy, I'm not like you. I don't know the laws. I don't have a website. I'm not good at speaking in front of people. It doesn't matter. What you can do is live your life in integrity and dignity, and that is plenty. Just do it. And I have the remedies for you. Yes, it's hard. Yes, there will be sacrifices. Yes, there will be casualties. I'm sorry to say, not everybody's going to make it. We are throwing out life preservers at every opportunity, and as Pastor David said, some of the people are grabbing us and trying to pull us under with them. So those that are not asking for the life preserver, leave them alone. Leave them alone. Stop trying to tell them. You live by example. You live by your life's example. You throw out the life preservers to those that are saying, hey, I'm running into this. What can I do? But don't waste your precious energy, time, resources on those who are going to pull you under. I was a lifeguard, a swimmer, all my life, a lifeguard, and they told us the number one thing is you have got to save yourself. They gave you all sorts of these maneuvers to maneuver out when somebody was trying to pull you under with them. So that's where we are now. You guys are the lifeguards right now. You're the lifesavers. You cannot let them pull you under. Pastor David and I just did a 3-hour talk last week about relationship rescue. How many of you have lost a friend? I mean, maybe they haven't passed away, but you've had a broken relationship in your life. Family, friend, co-worker. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I thought we were of life minds, as I say, and now we're not. So we have these remedies for you if you feel that you are drowning, that it's too much, that you can't go on, that you're not seeing eye to eye, that you're the only one. You're not. There are millions, and I can speak here with confidence telling you that there are many, many more of us than there are of them. So that is a good thing to know. Yay! Oh my gosh. So I started to say there are 2 reasons why people are afraid of dying. Number 1, they're not living. They literally have not lived, and they're like, oh no, I gotta start living now. I didn't go to Europe, I didn't go to school, I didn't write that book, I didn't get married, whatever the case may be. So they're panicking because they feel that their life is going to be coming to an end. What a horrible way to spend the last few moments of your life. At the very least now, start to embrace it. Start to live the life that God planned out for you. How do you know what that is? He will tell you. You pray and say, Lord, show me the way every day. Lord, show me the path, and I will walk in it. And I feel like he's got me by the wrist, pulling me along, because it is just clear to me what my mission is. Now, the second reason people are afraid of dying is because they don't know where they're going. They think that it's over. And I'm here to say it's not. And if you're not sure about that, Pastor David again will raise his hand, and you can go, Pastor David can raise his hand, and there he is. You can get prayer from Pastor David if you're not sure about the meaning of life and death, what happens when you die, if you're not sure where you are, if you're right with God. He will show you. God will show you. Pastor David can pray for you. Thank you so much. Based on that confidence, I have that confidence. I'm loving my life, as horrible as things are, because I'm living it according to God's law. I'm only going to honor God, not man. And when I do my actions and my choices, it's like, is this going to honor God? And I know I'm not perfect. I certainly fall off that narrow path frequently, as you'll see in some of my rants. But the goal is always to honor God, because God gave you life, and he gave you an immune system. And those of you that are concerned about, oh my gosh, my job is pressuring me, what do I do? You can get a religious exemption. And the religious exemption should be very cut and dry. And it should be, this is my religion, God gave me an immune system, and I'm not going to take any biological medicine to modify that. And then they'll say, well, didn't you get Novocaine when you went to the dentist? And I'm like, yeah, that was my choice, and it doesn't have anything to do with my immune system. I mean, the ignorance of these employers is astonishing. Yes. And then someone said, I don't want to have the test because I don't want to insert anything, into my body. And they're like, well, don't you put a toothbrush in your mouth? Oh yeah, a toothbrush is really the same as a COVID test. Further, they don't have any right to ask you those questions. That would be like asking a Muslim, well, just how long have you been wearing this veil? Would you be open to wearing a transparent veil? Would you be willing to take off the veil when you're in a meeting with the rest of the company? Turn it around. I lived in Morocco. I know about Muslim customs and practice and all of that. This is absurd the way that they are persecuting Christians. This is Christian persecution. And even if you're not a Christian, you're being persecuted. And you should applaud that. Because you were told that in the Bible. That when you're going to stand up for God, be on the side of Christ, you will be persecuted. And this is nothing. This is nothing what you're going through. Even with all the, I don't want to minimize it. Many of you have lost jobs. Some of you have lost physical loved ones, have gone on. Because of that, I don't want to minimize it, but I don't want you to dwell in that despair. I'm here to give you hope. And Pastor David's ministry is called True Hope Ministry because we do need to look forward for hope. So let me give you a couple of the laws, and I want to talk about how we can create hope going forward. Because the evildoers want you to stay up all night, watching all the scary videos. They want you to spin into despair saying, oh no, California's going to make it required. You know what? It doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter. What matters is we can always come eat here at the village. So, right? You've got to find places that are not going to persecute you. And that's part of the beauty. So, California Government Code 12940, I have this list for you guys over there. It says for an employer, right? So any of you that are working for someone, religious creed, it is unlawful employment practice to discriminate on someone because of their religion. We already know that, but here are all these laws about it. California Government Code 12926Q says you have the right to determine what goes on your face. Did you know that? 12926Q. It has to do with your description and definition of religious creed in California. And some years ago, there was a Muslim woman that worked at Disneyland, and she wanted to wear her veil, and they said, no, you can't, because that's not part of the costume of your character. I think she was working in one of the restaurants, and they said, you can't wear the veil because it interferes with normal human communication with others. They have to be able to see your face and their expressions. They may not be able to hear you clearly if you have your mouth obscured. What a concept. So this woman went to court, and she filed a claim against Disneyland saying, this is my religious right to put on my face what I want to. And Disneyland, the court said, the woman was right. And that woman got to wear her veil serving food in a restaurant in Disneyland. That changed the law in California, and they added these words, and I quote, face covering. It's here, you guys. 12926Q. You have the right for your religious dress to include or not include a face covering. Stop it if you're wearing one. Stop it. Stop it now. Well, Peggy, I have to. No, you don't. I can give you every example of people working for companies. The only place where I have not had anybody have success is a commercial jet. Now, there are private jets that will fly you without a mask. Get in the car and drive. Have the people come visit you. Make a sacrifice. You don't have to get on a plane. There's no reason. No one can tell me a reason they have to get on a plane that I'm going to agree with at all. I don't care what that reason is. I don't like the phrase, I had to. It doesn't exist. Everything in life is a choice, and you get the consequences of that choice. You don't have to do it. You don't even have to. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to get out of bed in the morning if you don't want to. You'll have to have your consequences of those actions, but everything is a choice. You can choose to drive through that red light. You'll have to have the consequences of that action, but you can do it. So stop telling me I have to do it. I had to. They made me. That is so weak. I was so nice a year and a half ago, I would have never said this to you.
Hey.
Pastor David's like, wow, sweetie, you are married to, a reverend here. You're But it's called Truth and Love. And if you, I really recommend reading the book of Ephesians, regardless of your faith. It's such a book full of hope, and it exactly is describing what's going on. It says we are supposed to expose evil. You are supposed to expose evil, and then don't have anything to do with it. Don't sit down and have a cup of coffee with it. You say, look, there it is. And then you stand strong and you shine your light. And your light is the only thing that can overcome this darkness. And I know, I feel like, I want to fight evil with evil. You've seen some of my rants. But the fact is, it only creates more evil, and it leaves you feeling worse, as I say. Worse is worse and worse, because then you've gotten down in the muck with them. And that's what I was told by my husband and my family last year when I was arguing with people on Facebook when all of this started. How many of you were posting, truths last year, like, look, these numbers don't add up. Well, how can I make you stay home? Well, aren't I essential? Right? You're posting all that, and then you're getting all this backlash, like, you're so selfish. My husband's like, why are you arguing with people on Facebook? It's like a dive bar. So people really don't care what you have to say, sweetheart. They only care about what they have to say. He said, you're a teacher. Why don't you make a video and put it on YouTube? Because people go to YouTube to watch videos. And I said, that's a great idea. I'm a teacher. So I created a YouTube channel for this purpose of educating people. And the video I put out there was called, The State of Emergency in California is Null, Void, and Invalid. Because there is no state of emergency. There never has been, according to the law. The law says there can only be a state of emergency when the numbers of this disease exceed the typical numbers. So they had to come up with all these fake numbers with a fake test. Well, you look healthy, but I know you're sick. No, I'm healthy. Well, it looks like you have to go to the bathroom. No, I don't. I mean, come on. What do you have to do next? Say how many bowel movements you had before you can enter Costco? Yes, I'm letting it all out today. Well, that's because I love you guys, and I know you can take it, and I know you want this, and you want this, these examples that you can share with others. It's so important. The gloves are off, as the expression goes. But having said that, we still need to rely on the law. So when I exposed, I call him the Gaviner, right? Gavin Governor, the Gaviner, soon to be ex-governor. People ask me, Peggy, who are you voting for? Anybody but Newsom. You need to vote for who is right in your conscience. The main thing is that you vote yes to recall this fellow, if I can call him that, whatever it is. And, but the fact is, he is operating outside of his authority, and at least 3 judges, to my knowledge, if not more, including one here in San Diego, said that there is no authority for closing his businesses. A governor has no ability to tell you what to do. What really bothers me is when people say, oh, the governor's lifting the restrictions. Well, the governor has no authority to lift restrictions. The governor had no authority to put the restrictions in place. No one person can tell you what to do. When I lived in Morocco, there was a king, and the king could tell you what to do, because that was their form of government. And I remember also writing home saying, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe it. My friends that work for the government here in Morocco, they didn't get their paycheck this month. And they're like, my God, why didn't they get their paycheck? Well, the king used it for the mosque. So I don't think we want that here. One person rule? How about Wilma Wooten here? She thinks she has the authority to close these restaurants? To tell you what to do? To tell you to put on a mask and restrict your breathing? To tell you to suffocate yourself? Now, I don't have it on this paper, but I do have, there's a law in California Education Code, our wonderful Let Them Breathe people. California Education Code, there's a law that says it is illegal for an adult to restrict the airways of a student. So why, in the good Lord's name, are you sending your child to school in a mask? Anyone who's doing that, I have remedies for you. And I'll start out really nice and give you the remedies, and then when you still keep sending your kids to school, I'm going to read you the riot act. I don't care if you're divorced. I don't care if your spouse wants them to go. I don't care if they're in a private school. I spoke to somebody today counseling someone in a private school in Torrance, a private school that they're paying for, and their 9th grader came home and said, oh, every day this week we had to write down what our identity was that day. If we were a boy or a girl or I don't know, a walrus. It's harmful. It's more harmful than the mask. It's more harmful than the fake shot because they're destroying the soul. And that's the whole end point, is to destroy God's greatest creation, which is us, humanity. But the beautiful thing is when you have the Spirit of God within you, it's never going to be destroyed. Those that are suffering, I'm sad to say, don't know God or they have turned from Him. Many of the churches are counterfeit churches with false teachers. And I'm just on the record to say that. They would never have closed their churches if they weren't. Now, they may have closed it for a week or two to play nice or whatever. You know what? That's between them and God. But to continue this, and then to make people wear a mask, which is the sign of evil, God did not create you. He created you with your own mask. It's called your nose. You have cilia in here that are a filter. Now they're filtering all of the plastic particles. You know those masks are made out of plastic, right? So when I was a kid, in the old days when you had dry cleaning, the plastic bag said, do not let your kids play with this because of danger of suffocation. Now they want you to put plastic over your child's mouth. On the way here, I was speaking to my sister. She said, oh my God, I had a meltdown today. I said, what happened? She said, well, I saw this woman without a mask on, and she had a newborn baby with a mask on the baby. She said, I had to go home and light candles and pray, and I'm like, this is evil. It is unadulterated evil, and we have to speak out against it. I speak out against it all the time. I have no problem with saying to a parent, take that, why are you suffocating your child? I will say it. Would you allow that if you saw a man kicking a child? Would you just walk by, or would you go, God, what are you doing? If you saw somebody strangling a puppy, would you allow it? But they're strangling the children. And parents that are going along with it, step up now. It's time. And I will also say this. Yes, it's important to go in front of these public servants who are supposed to serve us and tell them we know the score. But you have to only spend 50% of your time doing that. And you have to spend 100%, yes, I said 100% of your time creating something new. And that's going to be the last part of my speech here is we're going to talk about creating better than normal. How does that sound, right? That'll be another t-shirt, better than normal. There are all sorts of laws that protect you. California Civil Code 43 says you have the right to be free from physical harm. It's in black and white. Why do we even need a law to say that? Somebody's assaulting you. No, wait, it's against the law. Oh, okay, I'll stop then. We should not need laws for this, but we do because there are evildoers that are criminals that are breaking the law and they will have to pay their consequences. Physical harm, you have the right to be free from physical harm. Would you memorize that with me, you guys? California Civil Code 43. It's easy, 43. The civil codes have to do with your personal liberty. The criminal codes have to do with shoplifting and stealing a car and killing somebody, right? And then the administrative codes is what they're trying to ram down the restaurants. Oh, you broke the law. Well, it's not really a law. It's an administrative code that can only be written in support of actual laws. So they're violating all these laws to say you have to close because you have to only serve indoors, outdoors, or whatever they tell you to do. And you have to jump up and down 3 times and wear a yellow hat. None of that is lawful. California Civil Code, the civil codes protect you, 43. You already know California Civil Code 51. You are free and equal. End of story. You don't even need to read the rest of it. But the rest of it says you can go into any business of any kind whatsoever. I don't care if it's Costco. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a private Krav Maga. You have the right because they're out here serving the public and they're taking money.